Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Shanti Wellness Show. I'm your host, Zaheen Nanji, and I will say, last time when we had episode number 4, so this is number 5, we had Dr. Alicia Alibhai, and she talked about past life regression, and we had an amazing feedback from that because a lot of people were thinking, oh, it was going to be something woo-woo, kind of subject and out there and wouldn't make sense. But I find that a lot of people liked the way that she explained it. And so if you missed episode 4, I highly, highly encourage you to go onto the website that you see here, shantiwellnesscenter.com/blog, and go down to episode number 4 and make sure you watch that. And my hunch is that once you like that, you'll want to do a marathon with episode 1 to 3. So go for it. And for those of you watching, I just want you to know too that you can get 30 free recipes from us if you go onto our email list. This way, then you'll know what kind of episodes will be coming into the future. And if any you missed, you can watch them because we'll be emailing them out to people on our email list. And of course, you get free recipes as a bonus. Okay, so I know you're wondering, what are we going to talk about today when it comes to happiness? Well, let me tell you, we have an amazing expert here and my dear friend, Elizabeth. But before she comes on, I want to do a little bio on her here. And I didn't know this about her until today, so this is interesting. Elizabeth is a happiness expert, author, speaker, and a life and a relationship coach. She was nominated for YWCA Women of Distinction Award. She's the author of 2 books, a regular guest on Global TV and CTV, and she's also a yoga instructor and has her first degree in Black Belt Taekwondo. Now that I didn't know, Elizabeth. Come on in and say hi.
Oh, I always say I use my black belt in the name of happiness, so look out.
I like that. Yes, yes. So thank you so much, first of all, for coming on the show and taking the time.
My pleasure to be here.
Good, good. So first of all, I guess let me ask you this. We first met for coffee a while back when I was thinking about,
when we were both little kids.
Yeah, both little kids. And your topic intrigued me because I was thinking, what could she talk about in happiness? And I find that people think that happiness either is something out there or it's something you get from doing something. So I'm glad that you're here today because then you can talk about what that really means. So let me ask you this. What made you want to get into the area of happiness, Elizabeth?
The reason I am in this profession, that I have become a happiness expert, is because I wasn't happy. So what we know about happiness is that if you can imagine babies, does every child or every baby you encounter seem as happy? And if you notice babies, you'll notice that each baby has a different happiness set point. Some babies are naturally more cheery. Other babies might be a little more colicky or frowny or not as smiley. And this is called our happiness set point. So genetically speaking, we come in with a set point. Mine was a little bit on the low side. You may know somebody who's always optimistic, sunny, feeling vibrant, always able to see the bright side. They probably have a high genetic set point. For those of us who've come in with a lower set point, what we talk about is the 50-50 rule. 50% of our happiness really is genetically based. It's how our brain chemistry came in. The rewarding and best news is that we can change the other 50% through our thoughts, habits, attitudes, and behaviors. So by changing what we do, we literally change our neurochemistry and change our happiness set point in a permanent way.
I like the way you introduce that, where we come in with a set point. And that's really interesting. So for those of you just joining us, My name is Zahin Nanji, and I'm your host for the Shanti Wellness Show. And today we're talking about happiness with Elizabeth Manuel, who is the happiness expert and a dear friend of mine as well. So, Elizabeth, you talked at the end about how we can change our thoughts and our behaviors and what we do. And I strongly believe in that. Now, do you think that, like, I find that with the clients that we see at the Wellness Center, uh, they say things like, I will be happy when I lose weight. I will be happy when. What do you say to a client like that, or what do you say to people when they say that?
It's a very popular idea. I will be happy when is an idea that I subscribed to for many years, and therefore I didn't actually find happiness until I was in my 40s. My happiness was always going to be in the next thing, which was outside of myself. If you look at some of the things that we think will make us happy, that could be when I have a new house, I'll be happy. When I lose the weight, some of the ones that you hear again as common things, when I have, or when I am, or when, even worse, is when you are. If somebody else could only change, I'll be happy. This is placing our power outside of ourselves, and we will never achieve the happiness that we so desire with this I will be when. This has to be changed by remembering that happiness is an inside job. And it means even if we desire change, or we want a bigger house, or we want a new car, all those things are wonderful. In and of themselves, though, they will not provide us with sustainable long-term happiness. We have been culturally conditioned, and this is through pervasive advertising and commercials and newsprint that says, if you have this, then you'll be happy. And it keeps us proverbially looking for happiness, and we will never achieve it until we come back and say, okay, right now, in this moment, how do I feel? What could I do for myself? And here's where we bring in the tools of happiness, which really work, scientifically validated tools that will genuinely elevate our neurochemistry and help us come to that sense of, and what I call happiness is contentment or inner peace. When I feel content with my life and still want to have more, achieve more, be more, those are still okay. And can I be happy as is?
So you talked about some, tools that people can implement right away, which is great. Now, just to go a step back, though, when you talked about thoughts that we have to change, what did you mean by that?
In our brain, what happens right now is we have what's called ants running in our brain. And this isn't the anti that you love. These are automatic negative thoughts. Approximately 60% of our thoughts every single day are negative. Automatic negative thoughts. And this keeps us stuck. We think the same way. Well, I'll never have, or I'll never be, I'll never get, and we stay stuck. Or fear. Automatic negative thoughts include fear. I've never been happy, therefore I can never be happy, or my relationship isn't great, so I can't be happy. Automatic negative thoughts. Stress thoughts. I'm not happy at my job. I don't like my life. I don't have a good relationship. All of those automatic negative thoughts keep repeating themselves. And we must interrupt them to change the neurochemistry that's released in our brain. And the best and fastest way to interrupt those ants is to have a practice of gratitude. The fastest way to interrupt is to say, okay, I don't like X, Y, Z, which is fast and automatic. What do I like or love about my life right now? What could I be thankful or grateful for right now? What is working right now? And as soon as we shift, because we can only hold one thought at a time, I can either be positive thinking or negative thinking. There's no middle ground. There's not, I'm slightly negative. That would like be like being slightly pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not pregnant. So you're either thinking thoughts that will help you or thoughts that will diminish your happiness. And if you choose gratitude, automatically you'll have more serotonin, more dopamine, more feel-good chemicals, and that happens immediately. Immediately.
You know, I really agree with you on that, because I find that also when I had my book and I was looking at people who thrived, this is one of the things that I found, that they were always grateful with everything, even when they were so down or they had a difficulty or a challenge. I found that automatically they had this reframe button in their head, that they would start to reframe and say, but I have this and I have that, and that will pull me through. So I think first of all you have to become aware, right, that you are bringing these negative thoughts in and you are feeling fear, anxiety, and stress, but then you just have to stop and reset or reframe and come up with something that you really like and value and are grateful for. Yes.
Absolutely. It is so powerful. It's one of the top happiness interventions that are available, and yet one that we dismiss because we think, well, that can't be it. That simple act of pausing and helping your family to pause. Perhaps it's at the dinner table and you could say, what is the best thing that happened to you today, to your children? What are you most looking forward to tomorrow at bedtime? It changes our lives when we start to think things differently. So when we think about things differently, our brain literally changes and it becomes a habit or a practice. And this does hold us through tough times. So it increases our resiliency, not only figuratively, but literally, strengthening a more positive neurochemistry, which means it's more helpful for us when we undergo what we might call a challenging or difficult time.
Yes, yes. I know, and I always use my mom for this, because she's in her 70s and she's gone through so much in life. And she's not here, by the way, she's in Kenya. But that's the one thing that I've learned from her, is that every time she's going through a challenge, and in fact, just a couple of years ago when I was writing my book, I phoned her up and I asked her, and I said, you've been through so much, but yet you come through. I asked her, what kinds of thoughts do you have in your head just to pull you through? And this is what she told me. And she said, for a woman who's 70, she said, most of the ones I know are stay-at-home moms. They don't have anything to do at that age. I mean, not even moms, grandmoms. And they don't have too much to do. And she says, I look forward to going to my business. I look forward to seeing my friends and going to the movies with them. And I have a card night. I'm not dependent on anyone. And, when I think about those things and I start to appreciate what I have, it just helps me pull through. And I thought, wow, that is amazing. Just looking at everyday life things that you do, right, Elizabeth?
Absolutely. And here's another great one right now. What everyone can practice is connecting with other people. A small connection every day makes a massive difference. For example, you're at the bank. If you really connect with another person who's in the lineup or the teller, you feel better. You actually feel like you've had a meaningful experience with somebody. It could be at Safeway, wherever you are, walking down the street, in your office. Connect, say hello, get some eye contact in there, and it literally helps us feel like we're part of something bigger, which changes our happiness. We are literally wired to connect. This means you might like to join a group or be part of your community league or a special place that you go. Maybe it's playing hockey. You're connecting with your team, whatever way that is for you, belonging to something that's bigger than yourself.
That's the difference, yes.
That's huge.
So, Yes. So you talked about some tools, and I'm sure the viewers are finding out what are those tools that I could use every day. So why don't you share them with us, Elizabeth?
Okay, so far we've talked about one tool, which is gratitude.
Yes.
So practicing every day with yourself, your family, your friends, asking better questions. What could I be grateful for today? What's working for me today? Also, practicing connecting with others. We do live in what's called a cell phone culture, and often our connections are not with any eye contact. And if we can have a little bit more eye contact with those around us, we feel better. So it literally shifts again that chemistry to help us feel better. So joining something, being part of something, and connecting more in your everyday experiences. People that you pass on the street, at work, if you have an office, give a genuine hello to somebody and you will feel better. When we connect with others, it lights up what's called mirror neurons in our brains, and we automatically feel uplifted by being a part of that. So those are two ways. Now, if you're in Alberta or Canada, the weather is starting to be warm. A really amazing way to boost your happiness that costs no money is to be outside. There is an incredible amount of research on the power of nature to help us. Imagine why, when we think about summer vacations, many of us think about going to the mountains, going to the beach, going to a park, going to a lake, going to a river. We want to get outside, and we're drawn to that because it is so effective in helping us feel better. If anyone is someone who camps or gets outside and does hiking, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. There is a very potent power in nature, and it's free. For every listener, I really urge you to get outside more, especially now that it is spring. On the weekend, if you have a family, the best choice you could make for your family would be to get out and explore something, explore a park or a nature area. Go for a walk, a bike ride, whatever it is that your family enjoys doing, and you will absolutely notice the difference.
Wow. So then just to recap, so the first is to connect, the second is gratitude, and then the third is to go outside and be in nature.
Going out, yeah, it's huge. In other countries that don't have as much space as we do in Canada, they built these little areas of green space. Japan in particular is one that did a lot of research on this, and they measured blood pressure and cortisol levels of people who went into this park and then when they came out. So after spending 30 minutes to 60 minutes in these nature retreats, people's literally blood pressure was lower and cholesterol would drop. Nature is its own healing source. And when you go out and have an activity, and that again, it could be having a picnic, biking, walking, whatever it is you and your family or friends enjoy, when you do it with others, there's an additional benefit to your happiness, to your healthy brain, because you're participating in an experience with someone else. And as soon as we experience things with someone else, it really up levels that whole idea of the happiness neurochemistry. So connecting with others and doing that, taking that outside, is a big booster or amplifier.
That's a great one, yeah. Tell me about why people volunteer, because that I was at my daughter's award night yesterday where she was getting a Leader of Tomorrow award. And it was exciting to hear all the nominations. Like, these were just young kids, adult, young teens that were being recognized, and the things that they would say about volunteering, that you can make a difference in the world and it makes you happy. And so tell me something about that. Why does that make us happy?
This is an amazing thing. When we give to others, we actually receive more than we give. This holds true only when we're giving from our heart center. For example, if you're volunteering at a bingo or a casino and you really don't want to be there and you're there with a very poor attitude, you won't get the same level of reward. If you're volunteering and you can think about what are you contributing to? So you're helping your daughter's sports team, or you're helping a choir, or you're somehow giving of your gifts. And when you come to volunteer from that place of really giving of your gifts, giving of yourself, it again amplifies all of this positive chemistry, which is found in the left prefrontal cortex in our brains, and it magnifies our happiness, and it increases also another hormone called oxytocin, which is like a feel-good and a bonding hormone. It also strengthens our immune system. So the whole act of volunteering, contributing to others, when done from a generous heart. So there is a place where we could get to be maybe over volunteering. That's not what I'm talking about. It's simply a right amount, or you're doing something, you're contributing in a way that's using your passions or skills or talents. So if you're going to volunteer, finding a place that's really meaningful for you at this point. Maybe it's something to do with being on a board, or if you are a hands-on person, maybe you're helping in a senior's home, or you're specifically helping with a special needs group. Whatever it is, as soon as you find that passion and you're able to contribute, you will have dramatic results for your own immune system, life satisfaction, and more positive neurochemicals.
I like how you blend the information that you're giving with, science, facts, because it makes it more, I should say, tangible, I guess, if people understand it, logically, right?
Yeah, there is absolute, and anybody can, I've done all the research and of course looked at it all, and these are absolutely validated methods of changing. If you're depressed or stressed, you have a neurochemistry going on, and it usually includes more cortisol, more adrenaline. And if you're depressed, you feel less like you don't have any energy, you don't really have any motivation, you don't want to go out, and it just takes so much effort. And these simple strategies, going for a walk, has absolutely been proven as effective, like a placebo effect. If someone is given a pill for depression and or the other group goes for a walk, they really feel the same amount of increase in their level of feeling better. So going for a walk, simple, easy, effective, because all of our happiness, or vice versa depression, is a result of what's happening in our brain. And as soon as we can change what's happening in our brain to be more effective, more positive, then everything gets better, because we're able to think from what's called our executive center, as opposed to being run from the old part of our brain, the reptilian brain and the amygdala.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tell me now, I guess if we can, kind of shift a little. Now, being in Alberta, we have a downturn in the economy. There's a lot of people who are stressed financially. They're, thinking about their families. What would you tell them about thriving and being happy at the same time?
This is a big, big topic. We could spend hours on it in terms of finances and happiness. The truth is, happiness comes before success. And so, yes, our reality currently could be what we call the downturn in the economy, but it's again, coming back to gratitude. Do I still have a house? Am I still having food? We tend to take so much for granted. For example, having running water. The power or the water gets turned off for a short amount of time, and this has happened both to me and other people. It's like, where's my water? And we get so used to it that we stop appreciating it. So it is coming back in as soon as times are more challenging to think about, okay, what can I truly be appreciative for even in this time of challenge? So if somebody's experiencing an illness or maybe a layoff, it's, okay, how can I use this time to really reconnect with my family? What else can I do? And sometimes it's bringing in income in a different way. But again, remembering that other than abject poverty, money will never buy us happiness. I have many clients who are very, very wealthy, but money doesn't buy you love. It doesn't buy you excellent relationships, and it absolutely can't buy happiness if we keep putting our happiness out there. So with the economy, it's continuously coming back to what is good, what is working, what can I look forward to, and sometimes having a job that disappears opens the door for you to do what you really want to do. So thinking about all the opportunities that still exist.
Yes, and again, with a lot of I say chaos comes opportunity, which is something that maybe you want to start looking at if this is something that you're facing right now. Well, we've been having such a good time, and I'm looking at the clock, and it's already almost time to end the show. But I would like the viewers to know where to find you, Elizabeth. So if you can share your website and how they can connect with you.
Absolutely. So elizabethmanuel.com, and that's ElizabethManuel.com, elizabethmanuel.com. Also on Facebook. So again, Elizabeth Manuel, there's a public profile where I post some different tools and tips and things to help keep people motivated and happy. Happiness Expert on Twitter. If you're interested, if you're a Twitter user, send me an email, whatever way that you would like to connect. It'd be awesome to continuously share some more happiness tools.
Wonderful. And so you heard that. Please go to Elizabeth's website, Elizabeth, Manuel, right?
Yes. That's correct, yeah.
.com, and make sure you check her out and connect with her and say, hey, tell her one thing that you're doing to make yourself feel happier with the tools that she has provided, and I'm sure that she'll really be grateful for that connection.
I always love hearing from people.
Yes, so make sure you do that. Until next time, which will be the 4th Tuesday of the month, we will have another Hangout show. And again, like I mentioned last week, if you missed that, make sure you watch it. It was about 25 minutes long as well, and it was all about healing from your past so that you can find opportunity in the future. And again, we talked about that here as well. So thank you so much again. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch the show and letting us know what you got out of it. Okay, take care.
Awesome. Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.